Hey everybody, this is Food by Faith and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to be making two different styles of egg rolls. The first one is going to be a savory shrimp roll, and then the second one we're going to do is going to be a dessert one, which is going to be a cinnamon and sugar apple spring roll. So come along, hang out with me, cook with me, get all your ingredients together with me while we go on this journey of egg rolls today. So these are the ingredients that we will be working with today. I have some fresh shrimp. I have some Chinese cabbage. I have some carrots, spring onion, bok choy, the egg roll wrappers. I have one Honeycrisp apple. I have some lemon jam for a little tartness, brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of butter, and when the sweet apple egg rolls come from out of the grease, what we're going to do is roll them into the cinnamon and sugar. So guys, I went to the garden this morning and I picked a Chinese cabbage, I picked some carrots, spring onion, as well as the bok choy. And what we're going to do, I have already washed everything up. What is going to happen next is I'm going to chop everything up. I was about to say slice, but I'm going to chop everything up. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how I saute all the vegetables. We're going to let them cool. We are going to do our apple filling and we're going to let it cool as well. Once everything cools, then we will be ready to begin to assemble our sweet and savory egg rolls. So family, we are back. We now have all of our ingredients sliced up, and what we are going to do now is get started. So here we have our vegetables sliced. I have the pan for our vegetables preheating. I seasoned up our shrimp with my house seasoning, and you know that is a bit of black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, turmeric. And over here, we have our ingredients for our apple filling. So we are going to use our lovely little pan here. And while this pan is preheating, so that we can saute our vegetables, because what we want is we don't want our vegetables to stew. We want them to saute. So I really want this pan to get piping hot. And once it gets really hot, then we can drop our vegetables inside. You don't really have to worry about pre-cooking your shrimp. And the reason being is because shrimp cooks very quickly. And you want your shrimp to be very tender. So once you put your egg roll into the oil to cook it, the shrimp will cook at that time. So right now, while we're waiting on this pan to get hot, what I'm going to do is remember our ingredients for our sweet egg roll. So we have our lemon jam here. We have brown sugar. We have cinnamon, and then we have some butter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place our butter inside the pan. And I'm going to let that melt up just a bit before I then add the rest of our ingredients. And what I did when it came to our apple, I thinly sliced the apple. So as you can see, I have some pretty thin slices here. You can either use your Santoku knife or you can use a mandolin to achieve this. And the reason why I sliced them pretty thin is because I do not want the mixture to be heavy inside of the egg roll, because if your mixture is heavy inside your egg roll, what will happen is you could get where your egg roll burst open or it is hard to close. You know, it is very tempting to have a large amount of filling in egg rolls, but you really want to avoid that. And so over here, it's seeming like our pan is getting hot, the one for our vegetables. And you guys remember my garlic oil that I always have on hand. I'm going to place a little bit of that into our pan here. You see our pan is smoking, so that lets you know it is nice and hot. And again, you need it to be that hot. And what we're going to do is we're going to saute our vegetables. And that garlic oil is going to add a nice touch of flavor. And you saw the amount of greens that we started out with. You guys know from experience that greens can wilt down to almost nothing. And just like that, they are just wilting down. And this is why we needed our pan to be really, really hot. Because we do want our vegetables to cook just a little bit, but we do not want them to be mushy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a lid to this pan. I'm going to add the lid to this pan. I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to let the vegetables steam the rest of the way. And we're going to work on our sweet egg roll. So we've turned our burner off and now we are going over to work on our apple, cinnamon, and sugar egg roll. So here we are. Our butter has melted. So now what we are going to do is add the rest of our ingredients. So we had our 2 tablespoons of butter. We have our tablespoon of brown sugar, our teaspoon of cinnamon, and then we had 2 tablespoons of lemon jam. And the reason why I'm using lemon jam is because it adds a nice acidic bite. And so it kind of helps to balance out the sweetness that we have in the apple, and of course the cinnamon and sugar that it's going to be rolled in. And so this is what your sweet mixture looks like. And what we're going to do is we're just going to add our apple slices in and we're going to toss them. And guys, you see all the apple slices we have here. This is only 1 apple. And we're just tossing our apples into our mixture. Getting them all coated on all sides. And I'm going to bring you in so that you can see what we're working with. So this is what we're working with our apple mixture. And then here is our vegetable mixture. So now what we're going to do is pull both mixtures off of the heat, and we're going to let them cool completely. Once they cool completely, then we will begin to assemble. But again, remember, you cannot assemble your egg rolls, sweet nor savory, with a hot mixture. So I have all the eyes turned off. I'm gonna pull these off, and as soon as they cool, we'll come back and we'll be ready for assembly. All right, guys, so we are back. Our ingredients have cooled, and now we are ready for assembly. We're gonna start off with our sweet, and we're gonna get those rolled up. So here we have our wrappers. I'm gonna get them opened up, and right now I do have my grease preheating, making sure it's kind of on low because I want to go ahead and get these all wrapped up, and I don't want anything to burn while I'm doing that. So what I have going on here, let me get some small tongs. So we have our wrapper. We're going to put slices of our apple in the center. And again, you can put as much as you would like, but remember, you should not overdo it because, of course, you still need to be able to close it up. So I'm going to work with 2 at a time. And you see what I'm doing here. I am just taking my seasoned apples and placing them in the center. And I have some water here. And I'm going to take that water and I'm going to rub the edges, because we want everything to seal. And we're just going to fold. It's nothing fancy, nothing special. You're just folding. And there you have it. I'm going to bring you a little closer. And again, we're going to do our second one. We already have our filling in the center. And we're brushing our sides using our fingers. Brushing our sides with water. We're pulling our filling to the center and we're rolling. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep going until we're going to do about 10 of these. So I'm going to bring you down so that you can watch me as I fill and roll. You can always make your filling the day before and place it in the refrigerator, and everything will kind of solidify. And that's just fine. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to make about 6. I think this recipe will make about 6. And that's good because remember, we only used 1 apple. We used a tablespoon of brown sugar. We used 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of lemon jam. Now, if you do not have lemon jam, you can use any other type of jam that you want. I just like the contrast of the sweet and the citrus. And I have lemon jam because that's something that I make because I can always cook with it. And these are going to be great tasting rolled in that cinnamon sugar. And if you don't want to roll in cinnamon sugar, you can always place a glaze on top, but I just find it that it tastes very well rolled in cinnamon sugar after being fried. And that's all we're doing. But the only way to get a really good roll is to make sure you do not overfill. It's not as hard to do when your apples are this thin sliced, but when we get to the savory roll, it's a little easier to be able to overfill. And that's why we're only going to put one shrimp on the inside. So each roll will get one shrimp. And once we get to making our savory rolls, that's when I will turn our oil up just a little so that it'll be ready. I have a little bit too much juice in there. I want this to be able to seal up. And here we have our sweet rolls ready to be fried. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse off our rinse off our cutting board so that we can get ready to do our savory. So I have it all rinsed off, and now we're going to dry it off. Everything nice and dried up. And remember, we have our shrimp. And we have our vegetables. We have our water. And we have our wraps. And we're going to follow the same method that we did with the apple, cinnamon, and sugar roll. We're going to take one wrap. We're going to take one piece of shrimp. And we're going to take a little of our vegetable mixture. Everything was sauteed. It's nice and crispy. I'm going to move our water over here. And we're just going to wet the edges of our wrapper. We're going to pull our mixture in just a little and fold. And then we're going to roll in our sides. And we're going to fold. And there you have it. So we have our shrimp, our vegetable mixture, move that out of the way so you can see. We are going to moisten the edges of our wrapper. And as we begin to fold, we're going to pull our mixture towards us. Make one turn, fold in both of our sides, and then complete the wrap. And when we go to fry, you're going to fry inside into the oil first. You're going to make sure that end is in the oil first. So we're going to continue this until we have all of our shrimp rolls wrapped. I'll bring you back when we're ready to fry. So guys, we have gotten everything all done, and now we are ready to fry. And so you have to be very careful with this step, because remember, our sweet rolls they have a little juice, and so they may pop up just a little whenever you're adding them to the oil. So we're going to get those fried up. And remember, we have our cinnamon and sugar here. So once our sweet egg rolls come from out of the oil, they're going to go straight into our cinnamon and sugar here. And so what you're looking for is just a beautiful golden color. And remember, we're going to start them on that seam side. So this one decided that it wants to try to bust open. So we're going to hold it together just a little, making sure it stays sealed. And you're just letting them get golden brown on all sides. And it's the same thing that we're going to do for our savory rolls. And so it's nice and golden on all sides. Get it into our cinnamon and sugar. And then into our pan here. And we're going to do the same thing with our last two. And so while these last two are sitting in our cinnamon and sugar, we're going to go ahead and start some of our savory rolls. Remembering to put them in seam side down. That one decided it wants to come open. So we're going to hold it closed. Make sure you have something ready to drain them with. So we're going to finish cinnamon and sugaring these. And guys, it doesn't take any time for them to get ready. See, and just like that, they're nice and golden. We're going to let them get golden on the other side. And then we're going to put them on our platter to drain. And guys, you can make these, the sweet as well as the savory, in advance. And what you can do is place them on a sheet pan, making sure that they are not touching another roll. And you can freeze them. And you can pop 1 or 2 out at a time as you would like to eat them. And you see this one kind of popped open, but we made sure we held it together with our handy dandy toaster tongs here, and so none of our filling came out. So we're going to move our pan from off the stove or from the hot eye. We're going to let these cool, and then we're going to taste them.